Hello, this is Joey Love from California thrasher Seizure, and you're listening to Joker's Electric Circus on Metal Messiah Radio.
What's up, my metal friends? We're back here at MetalMessiahRadio.com. We are your metal music messiah. On the line with me right now, I got Joey Love, guitarist and vocals of the band Seizure from California. Back in April the 30th, 2021, Seizure released their album called Born in the Dark. How are you doing, Joey? Welcome to the Electric Circus.
Thank you so much, and thank you. And it's an honor to be here. I'm really, really excited for this. And yeah, really excited.
So your band, Los Angeles-based thrash metal band Seizure, released your debut full-length album, Born in the Dark, and it's on all digital platforms. So how did you guys get started with the band Seizure? How did it start for you guys?
Well, back in 2016, the end of 2016, I had a band called Phantasm, and we had broke up. And, after the breakup of the band, I really wanted to, keep doing music. That was really always been my passion. So I was like, okay, well, I got to start another band. And of course, I had to look for people. So I looked for some people and eventually settled on the name Seizure and went through a couple of drummers and bassists. And eventually I met the other guitarist of the band, Ira Black IV. And him and I really clicked. And, we found a permanent drummer and bassist. At least for that time, they were permanent. And things really got going. But really, it was right after the first band broke up. So I would say Seizure officially started early 2017, I would say.
Joey, let's talk about the new debut album. How long did it take you guys to record the latest album, Born in the Dark? Which studio did you guys record it in? Please explain your creative process. What do you consider your band to be, your style, and what are your bandmates' best strengths?
Perfect. Well, to answer the first question, it took a little over a year, actually, to get the album recorded. The whole pandemic thing really slowed things down. So the entire year of 2020, we were recording, because we had to go in and out of the studio. We couldn't just go back every day for a couple of weeks. It was like constant rescheduling. And it was a little bit of a hassle to do it all. But overall, a really fun experience. We recorded at Dalfenbach Studios with Ira Dalfenbach. He was the engineer on the album. And we recorded in his studio. And eventually when the studio got closed down because of the pandemic in mid-2020, he moved all of his gear to his house, and we finished recording the album in his house. So it was a very eventful experience. But you know what? It was memorable for sure, and it was a lot of fun. I have no bad memories of it at all. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. In regards to writing the album, it took, it wasn't one of those things where we sat and we planned how long we were going to spend writing the album. Like, that's what we were doing with our new material. But, it was our first album, Born in the Dark. We had an EP before, but we had released the EP, and then we decided, okay, let's just write and figure out whenever we're ready, we'll go into the studio. So it took a couple years, but really the writing process for the band, really what it is I'll write the songs, and then I'll bring it to Ira, and Ira will look at the songs. He'll, give me his honest thoughts, which is really, really a valuable thing, and he'll give me his riffs that he likes, and we'll go back and forth, and he'll add on to the song, and he'll, do some things that he wants to do, and we'll talk about it, and then we'll have a complete song, and then I take it back and I write lyrics. And that's, that's the process of how we record. It really comes down to Ira and I. Writing. It really comes down to Ira and I. But,
awesome.
Composing the album was so fun, and that's definitely one of the best parts of the band. Our style really is fantasy thrash metal. Basically a bit of a more melodic type of thrash metal. Not traditionally melodic, like with, in the sense of melodic metal, where you have a lot of, straightforward melodies, but more melodic in the sense of everything that's there kind of has to be melodic, even if it's a riff, even if it's a chord progression, the way things move should be a bit more melodic. And then the lyrics are totally fantasy-based, because that's really the things that interest me. But yeah, it was really great doing all this. In regards to all the band members, everybody in this band does such a great job. Justin is an incredible drummer, very articulate in what he does. He really has a lot of passion for drumming, and his skills in that are unbelievable. And a fun thing about Justin actually is that he also, it's funny that the drummer has this ability, but he's got perfect pitch, so he could recall notes from memory, which is quite funny that the drummer has that. But that's the way the world is, I guess. Strange things. And Ira, of course, is an excellent guitarist, an excellent composer, excellent in everything he does. Our bassist Nathan didn't play on the album. We had Ezra Behrens play bass on the album. Unfortunately, he's not with the band anymore, but his bass playing is really, really incredible on the album. I mean, it was just so fun to watch him play, and we had so much fun doing all that. And Ezra is such a sweet person. He's such a nice guy. And I can't really speak for myself in regards to my strengths, I think that's for other people to decide, but I'm really happy with how everything has gone and everybody in the band, we really work well together.
Born in the Dark features 10 new tracks and a guest performance by guitarist Ira Black, who you just mentioned, of Gods and Monsters, Lizzie Borden, and Metal Church. On the last song, J0KeR's Curse and Ira Black co-produced the album with you. Please tell us how you got Ira Black involved in the band, and what's the track all about, J0KeR's Curse? J0KeR's Curse.
Well, Ira Black is actually Ira Black IV's dad, so that's his dad. Ira Black IV is the other guitarist for the band, and then awesome. Ira Black, his dad, which is technically Ira Black III, is the one that did the guest solo. So, of course, he helps us out with a lot of stuff. He's our manager of the band. And, he kind of wanted to do a solo on the album. We thought, yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. So he did the solo on J0KeR's Curse. J0KeR's Curse, so what is it about? Well, Jin, for all intents and purposes, are basically what we would consider genie, wish givers, specters from the Eastern world. It was a really fun track to write and record. I think it's one of the best songs on the album. Lyrically, what it's about, well, I was really particularly interested in writing a topic about the Jinn because when it comes to the fantasy stuff, you can only write so much about classical fantasy things like wizards, magic, ghosts, and stuff like that. So I was like, well, let me explore some things that are kind of outside our Western ideas of fantasy. And at the time, I was working at a grocery store, and there was actually a guy there who was from the Middle East, and we became friends. And I remember I would ask him about these things. He was very, very kind. He was very respectful. He would answer my questions about these things because he saw I was genuinely interested in his culture. And I learned a lot about it. And I decided to write a song about the Jinn. And that was J0KeR's Curse. They're evil genies, really.
Who did the very colorful artwork for Born in the Dark by Seizure? Tell us about the artwork and who made it.
Well, the artwork was done by Lydia Chase. She is an absolutely unbelievable artist. We all love her work so much. We worked with her previously on our EP, Grandmaster Wizard, which came out a couple of years ago, and she did the artwork for that, and we just loved it so much that we went back to her, and we said, hey, can you do the artwork for this album? And we gave her the ideas and the kind of the color palette that we wanted, which we try not to be too particular with our artists because art is a very important thing in general, and artists should be able to flourish in their creations. But we gave her our ideas, and she came to us with a really great piece of art. Unfortunately, though, we got the artwork so early that when the pandemic hit, we were sitting on that artwork for like a full year. We hadn't used it. And she came back to us a year later when the album was done being recorded, because, of course, we keep in touch. And she's like, hey, it's been a year since I did the last artwork. Would you mind, since I've grown as an artist, if I just for free made you guys another piece of art for the album? And we were like, yeah, of course. So she sent us the artwork that is now the album cover, and we were so happy with it. It was so cool to see it. But Lydia is a great artist. She really knows the kind of things that we like, and she really puts her own style into everything. And, you know, we love working with her. Probably going to work with her even more in the future.
Has any record label showed you guys any interest in signing you and getting on a good record label?
Yeah, well, you know, I don't know if I'm at liberty to say any names of any labels, but there have been some labels that have contacted us, and we're kind of, you know, sitting here deciding what we're going to do. But yeah, we've had some labels contact us. I don't think I'm at liberty to say anything, though.
Okay, let's take a song break, Joey. Next, I'm going to play a track off the new album, Born in the Dark by Seizure. Let's spin track number 3, Born in the Dark, which is the title track, and the YouTube video premiered April the 28th, 2021. What can you tell us about the song and the location of the video, and how fun was it to make that video?
Well, Born in the Dark is, of course, an instrumental piece on the album. It's not necessarily what I think a lot of people would expect for a video, but it was, you know, a little different. We wanted to do that. The song, or the piece itself, being instrumental, you know, something that, you know, I've always admired was, you know, of course, classical music, which is mostly instrumental, as we would call it. But also metal bands have been doing instrumental songs for a long time. You know, of course, Metallica has instrumental songs. Even some of the great European bands like Blind Guardian have great instrumental songs. So that's definitely something we wanted to do. Originally, the song actually had lyrics, but after a botched performance of the song in Sacramento, where it was just absolutely destroyed, I wasn't even close enough to the mic to sing. It did not go well, so we ended up playing it live instrumentally. And after the show, I looked at everybody and I was like, I think I'm just not going to sing on it. And they were like, yeah, that sounds good. So ever since then, it has been our instrumental song. All of that combined, you know, the love for all the other instrumental pieces of music out there, and then that performance it was a perfect storm, really. And yeah, it was a lot of fun to write. The music video was a lot of fun to shoot. We actually shot it in the Angeles National Forest, because we're, of course, out here in LA. It was a very, very hot day. Of course, in California, most of the year it's hot and sunny. So it was actually spring when we shot it. It wasn't even summer, but it felt like summer. You know, it was hot. You know, our shirts were sticking to our skin. But you know, through all of it, it was so much fun. We had some really great directors working with us. We had some really great props. We had a good concept, too, I think. The concept actually came from our manager. And, you know, I remember we all worked extensively with him on it. And we shot it, and it was a lot of fun. You know, great memories are always made. But I will say it was very hot. After the music video shoot, I was totally sunburned. Like, unbelievably sunburned. I think I came home, and I looked like a strawberry. My parents were so confused. But, hey, it is what it is, right? Fun times.
Yeah, I really liked the video. I interviewed a thrash metal band from India last year called Amorphia, and they did a video on YouTube also, and it was in the forest. So very, very cool.
Yeah, it's a good location. And of course, fantasy, so we had to do the wilderness.
All right, welcome back, metal friends from all over the world. We're back with Joey Love of California thrashers Seizure, talking about their newest offering, Born in the Dark. Joey, how has the reviews been going
What's
so
up?
far from the for the new album? How's the reviews going?
Well, the reviews have been really, really positive. I would say mostly positive reviews. A lot of people like it, and not only the fans, but we've been getting some attention in Europe, and everybody really likes it. It's been it's really been a blessing that everybody likes it so much. Um, you know, a lot of people like all the songs. People talk about the fantasy theme, of course, because that's uh, very much out there. And it's very much at the forefront of what we do, so to speak. And that's gotten a lot of attention. But the music too, people really really like it, and it's really, like I said, it's just a blessing. The fans and the reviewers, they've given us so much support on it. It's been great.
What drew you to the music industry to begin with? Who inspired you to make you want to be in a kick-ass thrash metal band and doing what you're doing now?
Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, it was my older brother, actually, Anthony. He was the one that. So for some background knowledge, when I was young, he played a lot of guitar, and he loved bands like Slayer, Megadeth, Metallica, all these awesome thrash metal bands. That was his thing. He loved thrash metal, and then he also loved some old school new wave of British heavy metal bands like Iron Maiden and Judas Priest and stuff like that. And I remember I would always walk by his room, and there would always be some metal playing. So naturally, young boys wanted to be like their older brothers, and I wanted to be like my cool older brother. So I kind of got into metal a little bit, and he got me a guitar, and I was like 6, and I played for a little bit, but it turned out just to be a phase for me back then. But by the time I was getting into middle school, it really the spark ignited again, and I started listening to metal again, and I started picking up the guitar and playing it, and he was always really supportive to me, still is, and I really owe it to him for getting me into it. But I'll also say that the person that's really been a mentor to me and that's guided me a lot is Ira's dad, also named Ira, who did the solo on Jin's Curse. He's always there to talk to when I need advice on things, whether it's related to the music industry or related to how things work, or even just there, to help guide us through some of these things. He's always been there for me too. So I would say those two people I really owe it to. And I also owe it to my dad for coming up with the name Seizure. So that was his idea. I remember he just said to me one day, he was like, if you ever start a band, you should call it Seizure. And I was like, yeah, that's a good name. So I'd say those 3 people.
I agree. It is a good name. Tell us about your guitar that you currently use now and recording and playing live with. What makes you like that brand of guitar? What do you use?
Well, I use Dean Flying V's. I use the Dave Mustaine models. I have 2. I have a Carina wood model, which is kind of it's a very light guitar. It's not heavy at all. Light in regards to weight. It makes heavy noises, that's for sure. But it's really nice. It's yellow. I play with all my guitars very high action on the strings. I like my action really high. It helps me with my vibrato. And it's a little bit of an uncommon thing for guitarists to play with high action, but it's just the way I like it. So I have the Carina wood Dave Mustaine Flying V from Dean. And then I also have the, it's called the Strata VMNT. It's like a Stradivarius violin. It's modeled after a violin, actually, the guitar, and that's what I've been using a lot lately. So I recorded with the yellow Carina guitar, and then recently I got the violin guitar, and that has great tones. Also, I use the high action. I mean, I like the guitars a lot. They're not heavy at all. They're very lightweight, which I like. I could run around the stage or carry it around, and when singing, it really helps not to have a heavy guitar hanging down your neck and shoulders, because you need room to breathe, do all these things. So it's really useful. Also, my playing style, I would say, is actually very light. I don't hit very hard. Despite the fact that I do have a high action, I would say I play pretty delicately in regards to these things. And these guitars just are so smooth, just the way they're built. I just love the Dean guitar so much. I've played so many guitars. Like, I've played so many guitars, but the Dean guitars are just so incredible. Like, I could never see myself going to another company to play any other guitars, like, ever again. They're just beautiful guitars, and, the tone, just everything about them. I really love them. It's great guitars. And Ira, the other guitarist from the band, he also uses Dean guitars, and so does his dad. So it's kind of, runs in the family, so to speak. But, I came from BC Rich Guitars, and I love BC Rich Guitars too. But when I got my first Dean, I was just, enamored. I loved it so much, and I still do.
Where do you see yourself as a band with Seizure in the near future? Your goals to where you want to be moving forward as a band?
Well, that's a great question. I would say, moving forward, we have very specific goals. Hanging in my bedroom, I have the goals for the band written down, and I hang them on my walls, so I see them every single day, and I'm reminded of it. And right now, our goal is to, well, first and foremost, the second album, which we're working on. I've been writing a lot of the music. I've been composing a lot of the music, and it's almost getting time to show Ira the songs, and he's going to do his magic, and then it's going to come time to show the rest of the band the songs, and then it will come time for lyrics. But, it's really a joyful time to be able to be in this writing process. Ira and I really work well together when it comes to composing music. And that's definitely our biggest goal right now. But also, we really want to get out to Europe at some point. With this pandemic, it's been kind of hard, but we've been in the talks with some people. So we're just, getting everything we can get done while we wait for this to happen. But yeah, definitely those two things, getting out on the road and getting the second album out. And as a matter of fact, tonight, later tonight, we're getting together again, and we're going to work on a new song for the new album. So that's really exciting stuff.
Very cool. We look forward to the next album there, Joey.
Thanks.
Would you like to tell us about if you guys will be able to do any touring, if bands and musicians are able to tour again after COVID pandemic ends, or do you have any small gigs coming up that we should know about?
Well, in Arizona in November, we're going to be playing Nomad Fest, November 13th. It's a little festival in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. And you can find all about that on our Instagram. And we definitely been playing some shows around LA. The pandemic's coming to a close. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, playing live is one of the great joys of music. It's a connection to the fans, and it's a connection, it's a connection to art and people. And it's an unbelievable experience, and we love it so much. So yeah, as this pandemic ends and once it's finally fully over, absolutely going to be playing shows, more shows even than we are right now.
Joey, what is your favorite part about this line of work, being a musician and being in a band?
Well, that's a great question. I would say absolutely 100%. My favorite part about all of this is the composing process, writing the music. It is really my biggest passion is writing music. A lot of people are interested in the guitar solos and, shredding, or they're interested in the business side of things, or they're interested in playing live, and all those things I've talked about a little bit here already are absolutely unbelievably incredible, and they're beautiful. But to me, the most beautiful thing is when I get to sit down and I get to compose music. That is my absolute joy, and that's my favorite thing about all of this. And that's the thing that, God willing, I'd like to be remembered for after I'm dead, is as a composer. That's the greatest reward for me through all of this. It's my passion, and I would say that's, for me personally, the most rewarding thing about all of this, and the thing I love the most about it. And I'm sure the other band members would have their own things, but for me personally, it's that right there, composing the music.
What do you like doing outside of being in the band, like hobbies and stuff like that?
That's another great question. Well, my hobbies, I would say music takes up a large portion of my life, happily. I love it. Outside of music, I enjoy reading. I do enjoy fine art, actually. Going to museums, and I love doing that. And I really like, trying to stay as productive as possible with everything. So, if I'm not doing anything related to the band, I try and do things that are productive outside of that. So I love going on walks. I love reading and stuff like that. Of course, when it comes to reading, of course, it should be absolutely obvious to everybody, I love fantasy. That is a joy in life for me.
Okay, please give us a plug on where to buy your music, and will there be vinyl, physical CD copies, T-shirts, and all that merchandise, cool stuff that fans love to buy?
Yeah, absolutely. You can find us on Instagram at seizure.band_official. That's seizure.band_official. All one thing, no spaces. We're on Facebook. Uh, on Facebook, we are, I believe, Seizure Band. Seizure Official, at Seizure Official on Facebook. And you can find us on YouTube, just Seizure. Look up Born in the Dark and you can find us. And if you're interested in buying CDs, you could always message us on Facebook or Instagram. That's again, Facebook or Instagram. You can always message us for CDs. We have signed CDs for sale, $5 each. Plus shipping, of course, depending on where you live. But yeah, we have all that for sale, and we're going to get some T-shirts made. Vinyl, not too sure yet. Something in the future for sure, but at the current moment, our next merchandising priority is the T-shirts.
Okay, in closing, Joey, please give shout-outs to some fans and maybe a new fan to be, and what would you like to say that you haven't been able to point across yet?
Well, sure, I'll give a shout-out to some of our incredible fans. I would say, just looking at some of the fans that are always there to support us, we have Juan Carlos, great guitarist. We have, I'll shout out some of their Instagram names just so they know, and if they're listening. We have Rain in the Abyss, we have Gordred Guitar, we have Des Does Stuff, we have Gigi Slaughter, we have Art K52, we have Colton. We have all these great people, and these fans we love so much. They've always been there for us, and they support us, and we're just so grateful. I know it's a little cliche to say, we're grateful for the fans, but we really are. Like, we love our fans so much. They're so supportive to all of us. And if there's anything I'd like to say, I would like to say, of course, listen to the album and tell us what you think. And, life's a hard thing, but hopefully in fantasy and some of these things, we could escape some of the difficult times in life momentarily. And I hope people can find that in our music.
Joey, it's been a pleasure having you on tonight's show, Joker's Electric Circus, here at MetalMessiahRadio.com. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule for doing this interview with us, and the best of luck to you and your bandmates of Seizure. You're more than welcome to come back on the show in the future when you want to promote something new in the future. The best of luck to you guys. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.